Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome back to the workshop. Now, a few years ago I built a router table and I built these push sticks to go with it. Recently, when I was making my presentation boxes for my pens, I realised that I'd be better off with a different sort of push stick. So in this video I'm going to be making some push blocks for my router table. Let's get tinkering. Now this should be a pretty simple build. And I'm not going to bother with any measurements. This looks like the size of base that I want, maybe slightly smaller. I should just mark that. Then I'm going to need to make a handle for this base, so I shall mark that as well. Now I need to think about how this handle connects to the base. So I need to have an area that I can put a screw in here, and then an area for the handle itself. I might need to bring this up here like that. Bring this up a bit quicker as well, and then have a curve there like that. Something like that, I think. Probably needs a little bit of finessing, but you get the idea. In fact, this might be a bit small. I might have to make this bigger. So I've decided the key thing with this design is I need to be able to get my hand in here, and this gap here isn't big enough to get my hand in. So I've relented and measured this so it's the same length as that, to give me a little bit of extra room. I think I can now draw this a bit better. That's better, I can get my hand in there now. I cut the two pieces out on the bandsaw. I can then continue the shaping of the handle using the belt sander. And I'll finish off with the spindle sander. Now I guess I could have rounded all the corners off using the router, but it's not really my favourite tool, so I'd rather sand it even though there's a little bit more dust. The dust collection sorts out most of the dust on these two tools, so they're not as bad as it might seem. And they're certainly a lot quieter than the router. I mark up where I want the holes to go for the screws, and then drill them using the pillar drill, which I countersink using a hand drill. I start by just partially screwing the screws into the holes so that the points are sticking out the other side. With the workpiece flipped over, I can now position the handle where I want it and then press down to leave an indent in the handle. So I've got a registration point for the handle against the base. Then using my front of bench clamping system, I can now position the base and screw it in place. And as I'm positioning this, I'm just moving the block backwards and forwards until the screws hit the indentation marks that I'd put in. Now, for safety of your router bit, it's probably better if these are dowels rather than screws, but I think they're probably fine with screws because you're always going to have a workpiece underneath it, and I've made sure that the screws are well in from the bottom of this push block. On its own, this push block isn't going to be any good. I need a grippy surface for it, and for that I'm going to use some 60 or 80 grit sandpaper. I'll start by drawing around the push block and then cutting the sandpaper out. And I'll glue it in place using some spray adhesive, and I'll leave it a few minutes to dry. But having now read the instructions, I realise that I need to let it dry for 5 minutes, a bit like impact adhesive, before you actually glue the two pieces together. So I'll give this another quick go. And having now waited the correct amount of time, I can stick them together. Well, that was a quick video. I've got myself a nice push block that I can use on my router table that'll spare my fingers from being too close to the spinning blade. And with the nice grippy bottom, I'm sure that I can push stuff through without anything slipping. and potentially causing an injury. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't already, then please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.